I'm Michael Peters, sports editor of the Tulsa World, sitting alongside Kelly Hines, our Tulsa football beat writer, and we're going to talk some Tulsa football this week. We missed you last week. We had to have John Klein fill in last week because you were busy getting ready for the early Thursday night kickoff. And what a Thursday night kickoff it was. It was a really good game. We talked all in the office all week about how important it was. It was a huge opener because, you know, winning or losing would set the tone maybe for the rest of the season. They got a big overtime victory. What did you get out of that game that you saw from them on Thursday night?
I think more than anything, the resolve that they showed, trailing, it was almost 28-7 at halftime before a big play by Jeremy Smith, one of our local guys, and then a touchdown right before halftime. But, they came back from that, really didn't stop fighting, and that's the one thing that I think really doomed them last year. They got in big holes most of their losses last year. There were quite a few of them, and they really were never able to come back from those. They didn't lead against Tulane until the last possession that they had in double overtime. So to be able to come back from that, just the poise that they showed was very impressive.
You're going to write for Saturday's paper more about Dane Evans, but he had quite a coming out party, and I mean, as much as he struggled last year, was as good as he was in the opener. And I mean, I guess you could have lost confidence last year with as much as he struggled, and he seemed to come back and be a totally different guy. How do you explain Dane Evans 2013 and Dane Evans week 1 2014?
I think a lot of that is just the experience and maybe just some comfort factor that's there that was missing last year. When he's thrown into action in place of Cody Green last year, that was not a good situation for him. He really wasn't prepared. And now with the offense being better suited for him, he's the guy. He knows that there's not anybody really creeping up on him. I think he's just able to be more himself, more like the guy they recruited him to be. And, he definitely has improved also his passing. His short passes were pretty much all on target. He did have two interceptions. One was pretty bad in the end zone. But other than that, I think he was very poised.
We had, it's kind of a good news, bad news. Like you say, good news, they won. Good news, Dane Evans. Good news, they showed some real resolve in winning. The bad news is they were almost down 28-7, and for a while they looked like they were almost, kind of a shade like last year. What are some of the things that you take out of that game and you say, hey, this team is going to have to get a lot better at these things if they want to be as good as they think they can be the rest of the year?
I thought the defense didn't play very well, and that's supposed to be one of the strengths of this team, especially the secondary. DeMarco Nelson, his first game back after a year. 605 days is a long time to not play football, so he had definitely some rust on him, and he admits that. He did have the game-sealing interception, which was huge, but he was very slow to react on defense, missed a lot of tackles. So, I think that's something that's going to come back to him with time. I think he was really excited to be back out there and probably felt some pressure there, but I think the secondary definitely needs to live up to its billing.
I think this is a fun week, and now all around the country it won't be a fun week. All around the country it'll be marked off as, OU's playing another team they shouldn't play. But in town, I feel like this is a meaningful week and a fun week, and I kind of think that these games are good and hope they don't go away when we get to the new playoff and we get to teams really wanting to ramp up their schedule. So it's going to be a big week in town. It's going to be a fun week. It's going to be a big crowd at Chapman Stadium for the OU game. You're going to have a story, I guess, on Wednesday that kind of looks at how upsets happen in these games. We're not expecting one necessarily, but barring an upset, what makes this a successful week for Tulsa when they play Oklahoma on Saturday morning at Chapman Stadium?
I would say as long as they make strides, don't take a step back, don't get, overwhelmed with the opponent early. As long as they really are in the game for most of it, I don't think that they'll be able to just, run with Oklahoma the whole game. But I think if they're going into the fourth quarter, it's not a blowout, I think that's a success.
All right, well, that's all we have time for. Please join us again next week for more Tulsa football.